About 107,000 people are on the national transplant waiting list at any given time. 17 people die each day waiting for an organ transplant, and every 9 minutes a new person is added to that waiting list, according to the Organ Procurement and Transplant Network. Thanks for joining us for this week's Health News You Can Use. I'm Lindsay Stish. This week, during Donate Life Month, we're talking about the importance of organ donation, living donors, and dispelling some common myths. With me today is Dr. Lee Cummings. He's a transplant surgeon and the surgical director of the kidney transplant program at St. Luke's Health System. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Dr. Cummings, a national survey shows that 90% of adults support organ donation, but only about 60% are actually signed up to become donors. Can you tell me about the crucial need for donors and why it's so important to make that step and sign up?
It's critical. We have a big disparity in between those who need a transplant. Close to 107,000 people on the waiting list, and generally only about 35,000 transplants a year, and the primary limitation is organ donors. Last year we did have a spike in terms of numbers, about 41,000, but we still have a long way to go. So as many people who can donate, the better.
So who can become an organ donor?
Essentially anyone. Now certainly based on someone's age or medical history may change what they can donate, but anyone can become a donor.
Okay. Now, how does the average wait time for transplant in our region compare to other parts of the country?
Well, it's a stark difference. If you think about kidneys, for instance, waiting for a kidney in California, it could be close to 10 years or more. Same thing on the East Coast. Whereas here, traditionally, it's been somewhere between 2 to 4 years. And obviously that varies with blood type and other things to consider, but there's a much big difference. Yeah.
So what factors into that difference?
One, I think, is the willingness to donate. If you look at the statistics, they're clear. For the folks who do sign up, it's over 70% in some parts of the country, whereas in some parts it's 25%. So that's one thing. The second thing is the organ bank. There are about 53 organ banks throughout the country. They vary based on, some of them are entire states, others are parts of a state. The one here, for instance, is all of Kansas and half of Missouri. And it's pretty high functioning in that top 5, I would say. And that certainly does increase the amount of organs available.
So what are some common myths about organ donation that you'd like to dispel?
I think it's important that people know that in the medical community, we will do whatever we can to save you. Only when you cannot be saved does organ donation become considered.
Okay. So what are living donors, first of all, and what's the process for becoming one?
Well, the living donor is where you donate an organ, essentially, when you're still alive. So generally that means in today's world, livers and kidneys. If you are a healthy person, generally you can live with one kidney and be safe and do quite well. Obviously, there's a rigorous process to donate a kidney. We don't just take a kidney from anybody off the street. You have to go through a rigorous process to make sure it's safe. If it is safe, then you donate. And then, if God forbid you do develop kidney disease down the road, you do get extra priority points if you do need a kidney. From a liver perspective, the liver is, I think, the most important organ in the body. I'm a little biased. But it can grow back. It can regenerate. It's not the same as cutting a finger and it grows back. It's just that it gets bigger to compensate the part you took off. And so it's quite common to donate a left lateral segment to a child, for instance, from an adult. And in some cases, you can do adult-to-adult liver transplants, where you can give half your liver to another person.
Now, lastly, tell us about the advancements in organ transplant.
Transplantation is certainly a young field, so we're always doing new things. I think increasing the number of donors is something that has been improving quite well over the last 5 to 10 years. As a transplant community, we're always trying to expand the donor pool, including things like using hepatitis C positive organ donors and hepatitis C negative recipients. That's now a rare possibility because of the advancement in treatment, and that's really helping a lot of patients. You have other things like using split livers, where we're able to use one liver and split it to 2 individuals, typically a child and an adult. That's something we've started doing here at St. Luke's. But it's a national trend as we try to get more and more patients transplanted.
Okay, fascinating. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
To sign up to become an organ donor today, visit organdonor.gov/signup. You can also stay up to date with all the latest developments on the COVID pandemic and other health news from St. Luke's at stlukeskc.org/news. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time on Health News You Can Use.